You have spent thousands of dollars on tactical nylon, ceramic plates, and enough ammunition to fight a small war in a third-world country. You have obsessively categorized your freeze-dried beef stroganoff, and you can start a fire with nothing but a gum wrapper and an AA battery. You think you are ready for the collapse, but you are not. Because while you were busy fantasizing about defending your perimeter from a fictional marauder gang, you completely ignored the chemistry set sitting in the back of your pantry. You ignored the one substance that actually separates civilization from the Stone Age. I am talking about sodium bicarbonate, baking soda. Most of you just rolled your eyes. You think this is a cooking segment. You think I am about to teach you how to make fluffy pancakes while the world burns. This is why you will fail.
While they, the unprepared masses, the looters, the people currently panic buying toilet paper, are fighting over the last bag of flour to make comfort food, you need to be looking at this white powder as a chemical weapon against entropy. It is a fire suppressor, a medical facility, a decontamination agent, and a hygiene protocol, all wrapped in a cardboard box that costs less than a single round of reliable ammunition. If you do not have at least 10 pounds of this stuff stockpiled, you are wrong. Let me explain why your tactical loadout is incomplete without it. Before we start breaking down the molecular magic that saves lives, go ahead and hit the like button. Consider it a digital signal flare to the algorithm that you are still alive, you are still learning, and you are not one of the helpless sheep waiting for the government to come save you. Signal received? Good. Now let's get to the chemistry. Capability number 1 is fire suppression, and frankly, this is where most of you are going to get yourselves killed. Imagine the grid is down, the fire department is not coming, there are no sirens, no brave men in trucks, just you, and a mistake you made in the kitchen because you were exhausted and stressed. They see a fire in a pan, and their panic brain takes over. Their instinct screams at them to use water. Congratulations, you just turned your kitchen into a bomb. Here is the physics of why that happens. When you throw water on a grease fire or an oil-based flame, that water sinks to the bottom because it is denser than the oil. But the oil is sitting at a temperature well above the boiling point of water. So that water instantly superheats and flashes into steam. Physics dictates that water expands roughly 1,700 times its volume when it turns to steam. This expansion happens in a fraction of a second. It happens so violently that it ejects the burning oil into the air as a fine mist. You have essentially created a fuel-air explosive in your shelter. You didn't put the fire out. You just aerosolized it and coated your face, your ceiling, and your curtains in burning napalm. That is how you burn down your shelter and turn yourself into a burn victim in a world with no hospitals. Now let me show you what happens when you use sodium bicarbonate instead. This is not magic, it is thermal decomposition. When sodium bicarbonate hits a heat source roughly above 80 degrees Celsius or 176 degrees Fahrenheit, it breaks down. The chemical equation is simple but beautiful. 2 molecules of sodium bicarbonate decompose into sodium carbonate, water vapor, and, this is the critical part, carbon dioxide gas. You are literally dumping a CO2 fire extinguisher onto the source. The powder smothers the fuel, cutting off the oxygen supply physically. Simultaneously, the chemical reaction absorbs heat energy, an endothermic process which cools the fuel. And finally, the release of heavy carbon dioxide gas displaces the oxygen right at the surface of the fire. It suffocates the flame chemically and physically. While they are screaming and running from a grease explosion, you simply dump a generous pile of baking soda on the problem. The chemistry does the heavy lifting, and the fire dies a quiet death. You keep your eyebrows, and more importantly, you keep your shelter. If you do not have a bucket of this next to your cooking source, you are betting your life on your ability to never make a mistake. But let's assume you are smart enough not to burn your house down. Capability number 1 deals with external threats, but capability number 2 deals with internal decay. I am talking about dental hygiene. In a collapse scenario, a tooth infection is a death sentence. There are no dentists, there is no lidocaine. There is just you, a pair of rusty pliers, and a bottle of whiskey. If you let your teeth rot, you die. It is that simple. And guess what runs out first? Toothpaste. They will be trying to brush their teeth with just water, or worse, nothing at all. They will develop plaque, then gingivitis, then periodontitis. Bacteria will enter their bloodstream through their bleeding gums. Systemic infection follows, and then sepsis takes them out. It is a pathetic way to go for someone who spent thousands on a rifle.
Sodium bicarbonate is an abrasive. It has a Mohs hardness of 2.5. This is the sweet spot. It is hard enough to mechanically remove plaque and biofilm from your enamel, but it is soft enough that it will not strip your teeth down to the dentin if you use it carefully. But the mechanical action is only half the story. The real power is in the pH. Your mouth is a bacterial war zone. The bacteria that cause cavities, primarily Streptococcus mutans, thrive in an acidic environment. They eat sugar and excrete acid, which demineralizes your teeth. Sodium bicarbonate is alkaline. It has a pH of roughly 8.3. When you brush with it, or swish with a solution of it, you are neutralizing the acid in your mouth. You are effectively nuking the environment that the bacteria need to survive. You are waging chemical warfare on the microscopic enemy that wants to rot your skull. Commercial toothpaste is full of glycerin, stabilizers, and flavorings you do not need. Baking soda is pure utility. You can mix it with a little water to make a paste, or just dip a wet brush into the powder. Is it going to taste like minty fresh freedom? No. It is going to taste like salty chalk. Get over it. You are surviving, not going on a date. By maintaining an alkaline environment in your mouth, you drastically reduce the chance of cavities and gum disease. While they are rolling around in agony with an abscessed molar, praying for antibiotics that do not exist, you will still be able to chew your food. That is a tactical advantage. Method number 3 is tactical hygiene. And I am not talking about looking pretty for the post-apocalyptic prom. I am talking about the fact that right now, you rely on a hot shower and complex synthetic surfactants to keep your skin from turning into a petri dish. When the water stops flowing, they are going to realize very quickly that the human body is a disgusting machine. They will become walking biohazards. Their hair will mat with grease, and their skin will fester with fungal infections. But worse than the health risk is the tactical risk. If you smell like a rotting corpse, I can smell you from downwind before I even see you. You are giving away your position because you didn't understand basic biology. The science of body odor is misunderstood by almost everyone. Fresh sweat is actually odorless. It is sterile. The smell comes from the bacteria living on your skin, specifically Corynebacteria and Staphylococcaceae, feeding on the proteins and fatty acids in your sweat. As they metabolize your sweat, they excrete waste products like propanoic acid and isovaleric acid. You smell bad because bacteria are literally defecating acid onto your skin. Commercial deodorant works by plugging your pores with aluminum or masking the smell with fragrance. You do not need that. You need to change the pH of the battlefield. By applying sodium bicarbonate to your underarms or other high-friction areas, you are creating an environment that is too alkaline for these bacteria to thrive. You are starving the enemy. You stop the odor at the source by neutralizing the acids they produce and inhibiting their reproduction. Furthermore, let's talk about your hair. Your scalp produces sebum, an oily, waxy substance. Without shampoo to strip it away, that sebum traps dirt, dead skin, and pathogens. It becomes a breeding ground for lice and ringworm. They will try to wash their hair with precious drinking water and fail to get the grease out. You will use the dry shampoo method. You massage baking soda into your scalp. It is lipophilic enough to bind to the oils and absorb them. Note that I said adsorb with a D, meaning it holds the molecules on its surface. You comb it out and the grease comes with it. You stay clean, you stay silent, and you save your water for drinking. Method number 4 addresses internal chemistry. Let's be honest about your diet in a collapse scenario. You are going to be eating garbage. You will be eating expired canned goods, foraged greens your stomach isn't used to, and high preservative MREs that stop your digestion dead in its tracks. They are going to be doubled over in agony with acid reflux, gastritis, and severe indigestion. And when they are incapacitated by pain, they are useless. A soldier with a stomachache is a casualty. Your stomach uses hydrochloric acid to digest food. It is a potent acid with a pH between 1.5 and 3.5. Stress, bad food, and irregular eating schedules can cause your stomach to overproduce this acid, leading to heartburn or, eventually, ulcers. In a world without proton pump inhibitors or specialized medication, an ulcer can bleed and kill you. You need a neutralizer.
This is high school chemistry that saves your life. When you drink a solution of water and sodium bicarbonate, a neutralization reaction occurs immediately. The sodium bicarbonate reacts with the hydrochloric acid to produce sodium chloride, table salt, water, and carbon dioxide. You will burp. That is the CO2 leaving your system. But the burning stops instantly. You are turning dangerous acid into salt water inside your own body. This also applies to urinary tract health. By slightly alkalinizing your urine, you can inhibit the growth of bacteria that cause urinary tract infections. In a survival situation, a UTI can travel to your kidneys and cause sepsis. They will die from a bladder infection because they ran out of cranberry juice. You will treat the condition with a teaspoon of powder dissolved in a cup of water. It is the cheapest medicine you will ever own, and it never expires. Method number 5 covers dermatological defense. I know what you are thinking. You are worried about gunshot wounds and broken legs. But history shows that in jungle warfare and prolonged field operations, it is the small things that take soldiers out of the fight. Insect bites, stinging nettles, and rashes. They will scratch a mosquito bite until it bleeds. Then, because they haven't washed their hands, see method number 3, they will introduce staph bacteria into the wound. That scratch becomes cellulitis. That cellulitis becomes systemic. Congratulations, you just lost a limb to a bug bite. Most insect venoms and plant irritants are acidic. Ant venom, bee stings, and many other nasties contain formic acid. The itch and the swelling are your body's inflammatory response to that acid. If you apply a paste of baking soda and water directly to the bite immediately after it happens, 2 things occur. First, the alkalinity neutralizes the formic acid, stopping the chemical burn. Second, the paste acts as a drawing agent. Through the process of osmosis, as the paste dries, it draws fluid out of the wound, pulling some of the toxins with it. It reduces the swelling, kills the itch, and prevents you from scratching yourself into an infection. While they are miserable, distracted, and covered in open sores, you have treated the problem at the molecular level. You are comfortable, and a comfortable survivor is a focused survivor. Pain is a distraction you cannot afford. Now, let's talk about the biggest mistake you are making right now, the mistake of scale. When I tell you to buy baking soda, I know exactly what you did. You pictured that little orange box in the back of your fridge that you use to absorb smells, the one that has been there since the Bush administration. That is not a stockpile. That is a joke. That little box is maybe 1 pound. If you use it for fire suppression, hygiene, and medical needs, that box lasts you 3 days. They will loot the grocery stores for those little boxes. They will fight over 8 ounces of powder. You need to be smarter. You need to stop looking in the baking aisle and start looking at pool supply stores or animal feed distributors. Sodium bicarbonate is used to raise the alkalinity in swimming pools and as a buffer in cattle feed. You can buy it in 10, 20, or 50-pound bags for a fraction of the cost per ounce. It is the exact same chemical. Do not fall for the marketing. Pure sodium bicarbonate is pure sodium bicarbonate, whether it comes in a fancy little box with a hammer on it or a 50-pound sack meant for a dairy farm. Buying in bulk is the only way this strategy works. You need enough to treat your water, clean your body, brush your teeth, and put out fires for months, not days. Store it in 5-gallon buckets with Gamma Seal lids to keep the moisture out, and it will outlast you. If you're buying it by the ounce, you are planning to fail. Method number 6 addresses the Riot scenario. Let's talk about civil unrest. You've seen the news. You know that when society cracks, the streets fill with angry people, and shortly after that, the air fills with tear gas. They, the mob, will panic. They will scream, rub their eyes, and pour milk on their faces because they saw someone do it on the internet. That is a myth that will get you an eye infection. Milk contains fat and sugar, which bacteria love. Putting that into your burning eyes in a dirty environment is just asking for conjunctivitis on top of chemical burns. The chemical agent used in most tear gas is 2-chlorobenzylmalonitrile, commonly known as CS gas. Here is the science they do not understand. CS is not actually a gas. It is a microparticulate solid, a crystalline powder that is aerosolized. When those crystals hit the moisture in your eyes, nose, and lungs, they hydrolyze. This reaction creates hydrochloric acid and other nasty byproducts that attack your sensory nerve endings. You are literally being attacked by microscopic acid factories. You cannot wash this off with just water. Water spreads the crystals and activates more of them. You need to neutralize the chemical reaction. CS gas is unstable in an alkaline solution. By mixing a solution of roughly 5% sodium bicarbonate and 95% water, you create a decontamination fluid that does two things. First, the water mechanically flushes the crystals away. Second, the alkalinity of the baking soda accelerates the hydrolysis process outside of your body, breaking down the CS molecule into safer, inert compounds before it can do more damage. You are deactivating the weapon, not just washing it around. While they are rolling on the ground blind and screaming, you are flushing your eyes, clearing your airway, and moving to a secondary location. Method number 7 is the laundry dilemma. I know, laundry is boring. It is not tactical. It does not look cool on Instagram. But let me tell you about a little thing called typhus. During the wars of the 20th century, more soldiers were taken out of action by lice-borne diseases than by bullets in some theaters. Lice live in dirty clothes. They will act like laundry is a luxury they can skip. They will wear the same underwear for 3 weeks until it fuses to their skin. That is how you get trench fever. That is how you die from a scratch. Here is the logistics problem. Modern laundry detergent is designed for washing machines with unlimited water. It creates massive amounts of suds, surfactants, that require gallons of water to rinse out. In a survival situation, water is more valuable than ammunition. You cannot afford to waste 10 gallons of water just to rinse the soap out of your socks. If you use Tide, you are wasting your life support. Sodium bicarbonate is the solution. It is a water softener and a deodorizer. It raises the pH of the wash water, which helps to break down the fatty acids and proteins in dirt and sweat without creating a mountain of foam. It makes the water wetter by reducing surface tension, allowing it to penetrate fabrics more effectively. You can wash a load of tactile gear in a bucket with a cup of baking soda and rinse it with a fraction of the water you would need for commercial detergent. The clothes come out smelling like nothing, which, as we discussed in method number 3, is exactly what you want. You are staying camouflaged olfactorily, and you are not wasting your drinking water to do it. Method number 8 is the energy grid defense. Most of you are planning to rely on solar power or a generator when the lights go out. You have your lead-acid batteries, your car batteries, or your deep-cycle marine batteries daisy-chained together. You feel smart, but have you ever looked at the terminals of a car battery that has been sitting for a while? That crusty white and blue corrosion is lead sulfate and other salts. That corrosion is electrical resistance. Ohm's law is not a suggestion, it is a rule. Voltage equals current times resistance. As resistance goes up because of that corrosion, your voltage drops, your efficiency plummets. They will think their batteries are dead. They will abandon a perfectly good truck or a solar bank because the car won't start or the inverter keeps tripping. They will walk away from salvation because they didn't understand basic maintenance. That corrosion is caused by the sulfuric acid inside the battery venting and reacting with the lead terminals. It is highly acidic. You can dissolve it instantly with a paste of baking soda and water. The base neutralizes the acidic corrosion immediately. You will see it fizz violently. That is the sound of chemistry saving your power grid. Wipe it clean and you restore the electrical connection. You just brought a dead vehicle back to life or restored your solar storage capacity for pennies. While they are walking because their truck wouldn't start, you are driving past them with a clean battery connection. This brings us to method number 9. The psychological weapon. Comfort is not just a luxury, it is a psychological necessity. Morale is a finite resource. When they are eating unseasoned rice and beans for the 30th day in a row, they will break. Their will to survive will erode because their life is miserable. Food fatigue is real. The physiological response to eating the same bland starch every day is a loss of appetite, which leads to calorie deficits, which leads to bad decision-making. Baking soda is a leavening agent. I said this wasn't about cookies, and I meant it, but it is about bread. You can make soda bread without yeast. Yeast has a limited shelf life and requires precise temperatures to activate. Baking soda lasts forever. With flour, water, a little acid, like vinegar or sour milk powder, and baking soda, you can make dense, caloric bread in a cast iron skillet over a fire. The ability to produce warm bread in a frozen hellscape is a leadership tool. It calms children.
It focuses adults. It reminds everyone that they are human beings, not animals. They will be eating cold gruel and turning on each other. You will be breaking bread and maintaining the chain of command. Never underestimate the tactical value of a hot meal. Method number 10 is the scavenger's insurance. Eventually, your freeze-dried stroganoff will run out. You will have to scavenge. You will be raiding abandoned gardens, orchards, or even the back of a grocery store distribution center if you are lucky. They will see a crate of apples or a patch of wild greens and shove it into their mouths because they are starving. They will ingest a cocktail of pesticides, herbicides, and fecal bacteria. In a world without hospitals, a severe case of food poisoning or chemical toxicity causes dehydration, which kills you in 3 days. Commercial pesticides are designed to be water-resistant, so rain doesn't wash them off. Rinsing your scavenged food with just water does almost nothing. It is like trying to wash grease off a plate without soap. You are just wetting the poison. However, a study by the University of Massachusetts found that soaking produce in a solution of sodium bicarbonate and water for 12 to 15 minutes is the most effective way to remove thiabendazole and phosmet residues. The mechanism is alkaline hydrolysis. The baking soda chemically degrades the pesticide molecules, breaking them down into harmless byproducts, while the physical scrubbing action removes the surface bacteria. You are turning a toxic hazard into a viable calorie source. While they are vomiting their guts out because they ate an unwashed pear, you are processing nutrients and keeping your strength up. Method number 11 deals with foot rot. This is unglamorous, smelly, and absolutely critical. Your feet are your transportation. If they go down, you die. They will wear their boots for 16 hours a day, trapping moisture, sweat, and heat. This creates the perfect breeding ground for tinea pedis, athlete's foot, and trench foot. Their skin will macerate, crack, and get infected. You cannot march with rotting feet. Sodium bicarbonate is hygroscopic. This means it absorbs moisture from the air and its surroundings. Every night, you should be dumping a generous amount of powder into your boots. It does 2 things. First, it aggressively pulls the moisture out of the insoles and the leather, drying the boot from the inside out. Second, it neutralizes the fungal spores and the bacteria that cause the dead animal smell. In the morning, you shake the powder out. You start the day with dry, hostile terrain for fungus. It extends the life of your boots and the life of your feet. They will be immobilized by pain and gangrene. You will be mobile. Now, let's talk about the final mistake. This is the one that drives me crazy. I see survival experts on the internet doing this, and it makes me want to scream. Do not mix baking soda with vinegar unless you are unclogging a drain. People think mixing baking soda and vinegar creates a super cleaner. It does not. It creates a science fair volcano. It creates carbon dioxide gas and sodium acetate, which is basically salt water. The fizzing looks impressive, but chemically, the acid and the base neutralize each other. You lose the cleaning power of the acid, and you lose the abrasive and alkaline power of the base. You are left with useless, bubbly water. Use them separately. Use the vinegar to dissolve mineral deposits or kill mold. Use the baking soda to scrub, degrease, and deodorize. Do not mix them and think you are MacGyver. You are just wasting your supplies. Everything I have just told you comes down to one fundamental truth. Survival is not about buying things. It is about understanding how the world works. They buy gear because it makes them feel safe. They buy the knife with the compass and the handle. They buy the tactical vest with 20 pockets. They rely on finished products to solve their problems. When the product runs out, or breaks, or they don't have the specific refill, they are helpless. You are different. You are buying raw materials. You are buying sodium bicarbonate because you understand pH levels. You understand thermal decomposition. You understand saponification and neutralization. You are acting like a chemical engineer, not a consumer. The 10 pounds of baking soda in your pantry represents a philosophy of independence. It represents the ability to adapt. It can be a fire extinguisher today, a doctor tomorrow, and a mechanic the day after that. It is the ultimate multi-tool, but only if you have the knowledge to wield it. So here is my challenge to you. Go to the store, walk past the frozen pizzas, walk past the beer, go to the baking aisle or the pool supply section. Pick up the heaviest bag of sodium bicarbonate you can find. Carry it home, put it in a bucket, and look at it. Realize that this white powder is worth more than gold in a collapse, but only if you are smart enough to use it. They will be dead in a week because they didn't know the difference between an acid and a base. You will be alive because you paid attention. Don't be one of them.